Hello, welcome everyone. This is the podcast with no name. I am Ebony,
And I'm Paris.
and this is our a real discussion, and we are doing the fifth one for the four agreements, the third one today, but the fifth video. And
Okay.
now we're on the second agreement, which
hmm
is um
Don't take it personally. I
don't
think it was.
take it personal.
Don't take anything personally.
Don't take anything personally. So I have a couple of notes in here, two of which we talked about in the last video.
hmm
But one thing that I really wanted to talk to you about that we always talk about is this idea of magic. And when people think of magic, they think of like sorcery or Harry Potter or that type of magic that fools your eyes, kind of like illusion,
hmm
which I absolutely agree that there's magic in the world. Maybe some of that too, but I think magic is like wonder, having wonder in the world and seeing like how magical certain things are because with or without you, it's still operating, it still exists. Like when you think about your heart, beating on its own, no one can tell me that that's not magic, or you breathing on your own, or your body digesting on its own, or even when things come out and manifest that you weren't expecting, or the serendipity of certain moments or experiences. I believe magic is everywhere. And nobody can convince me otherwise, especially when you look at these makeup tutorials. Magic is glamour is magic, okay? And it is everywhere. And so in the second agreement, he talks a little bit about magic. And me and Paris talk a lot about, magic in the sense of wonder and not magic in the sense of like
Illusions or
illusion. Yes.
what's the other word? I can't think of the other word.
So okay, found it. So
What page?
Oh no, hold on. That wasn't it. Oh, okay. This is page 59.
Okay.
Okay. So let's start on page 58. It says, when you make it a strong habit not to take anything personally, you avoid many upsets in your life. Your anger, jealousy, and envy will disappear, and the sadness will simply disappear if you don't take things personally. If you can make this second agreement a habit, you will find that nothing can put you back in hell. There is a huge amount of freedom that comes to you when you take nothing personally. You become immune to magicians, and no spell can affect you regardless of how strong it may be. The whole world can gossip about you, and if you don't take it personally, you are immune. Someone can intentionally send emotional poison, and if you don't take it personally, you will not eat it. When you don't take the emotional poison, it becomes even worse in the sender, but not you.
hmm
Whew. So I just thought that was such a profound statement because we always talk about words being magic. And Erica Badu says words are spells, right? And so
hmm
when you think about the power that I mean, that's really what all anyone's insecurities are, is someone saying something unkind to them and it becomes their inner voice, right? And so the way it becomes magic is because someone implant something in you. They seed you with something that you yourself feed, and it grows and manifests until it becomes something, real. And so the book talks about like words can either be used for light, which you can plant a seed in someone and it can grow into something beautiful, or it can be used for black magic, which means you can say something and it manifests in the person till it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I don't know if it's this book or another book, but it talks about like a parent was just having a really bad day, and they got around their child, and their child was just so happy and in such a good mood and was singing at the top of their lungs. And because they were just so frustrated with their lives, they snapped at their child and say, shut up. When you stop singing, you have an ugly voice, you know. And so the kid, of course, being a kid and not having this strong, is a strong like sense of self, like a strong locus, internal locus of control, took that on as an agreement, and their whole life, you know, they was, you know, I guess oppressed by their words. They wouldn't speak up, they wouldn't sing. They had a hard time expressing themselves because their mom told them that their voice was ugly. And so it became black magic, a self-fulfilling prophecy over this person, because the person used their words to, you know, remember that movie Inception? That's kind of like what's happening.
They planted the seed.
Yeah, and then you manifest it or it grows, and it's like words. That's why the number one rule was be impeccable with your words, because you don't want to be casting black magic over people by the words you say. Like a person could feel completely good in how they look. It took them an hour to put themselves together. It took them 2 weeks to find that episode. I mean, that outfit. And in 1 minute they come out of the bathroom and you go, you wearing that? And then all the weeks of effort and how they felt about themselves, they felt, you know, really good. And now it's definitely depending on if they're people pleasers or not. Now they don't feel good about themselves, and all night they tugging at their clothes, and you didn't rob them of their joy. You kind of just cast a spell over their life. And so I just thought that was a very interesting observation, because we talk about magic, we talk about the power of words. As a poet, you know, I know it intently. Like, I try to be mindful what it is that I say. People say very negative and rude stuff to me all the time. Again, I don't implant it, but I know I cannot say those things to them. And so a lot of times I let people say things to me and I never even reprimand them, or I don't say anything back, even though I can fire and destroy them. I never do it, because I know that they can't handle it. And it's like, although you are casting black magic over my life, I won't do it to you. I'm impeccable. Okay.
That's good. It's so funny you said that, because I was just talking to my husband. I'm like, I'm gonna have to get less impeccable with my word, because my child be saying little slick stuff, and I be looking like, you know what? Where our family from, we do this. Like, and I feel like you reached an age, there's probably time for you to be like jumped in low key. So I'm like, I'm about to start really roasting you, because you think you're doing something. And the truth is, I'm letting you slide all the time. I just be looking at you like, yeah. You know, because I'm like, I was like, I might as well just go ahead and start. I need to start building her up, because I'm like, you're not about that life. And I'm like, the way our family really is, I'm like, yo, this can't keep going on. You be saying slick stuff. And I'm like, yo, let me teach you who your mom is, okay? Because I didn't sat and practice in the mirror my dang self, because I used to come and visit my family during the summers and they was eating me up. And I was like, I can't do this. I went back home for the rest of the year, was in the mirror like, you know, pop, lock, and break dance and all, try to get my roasting game back up, because I can't live this life. Them people just roasted me. And now I'm out here achieving. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was just funny that you said that, because I was just like, maybe I should rethink that. And even when I said that, I was like, nah, she need to get this work. First of all, because she's not being impeccable with her word, I'm like, let me show you what happened if I'm not impeccable with mine.
See, I like to think of that. I like to think of that's a skill. And I like to think of that skill equivalent to being a martial artist, right? Don't you know how, like, on I talked about this on another video. Don't you know how Karate Kid, like all of those 4 or 5 or 6, I think it was like 4 or 6 of those teenagers tried to jump him in the alley because they was fighting on Will Smith character. What's his name? Jaden and them. Jaden.
Yeah.
So I'm fighting on Jaden, and he kind of tried to get them to stop, and then they tried to fight him. And so he basically, they beat themselves up. He never hit them. And he just kind of like maneuvered and stepped out the way. So they were hitting each other, and they basically beat each other up, and he walked. So I like to think of that skill as like, you know, my Karate Kid skill, because people be really trying me. Like, the stuff people say to me, I was like, yo, in one swift kick, I could literally like knock your heart out of your chest. And then look, my shadow side will love it. It's like,
Right.
you know, on Mortal Kombat, where they be like, finish him, and at the end, the person be like, holding the heart in their hand, like, I will love it. I will love it. Listen, I'm not going to feel bad about it. So it's like, I tell myself, you're like the martial artist, even though these people are not equipped with these words like you are. Don't give them the hands back. Like secretly, you just know in yourself, like, haha, if I want to, I could destroy you. And for that reason, I'm gonna let you live. I'm gonna give you peace. I'm gonna give you peace.
To me, I was like, most of the time I'll be cool, but every now and then a little something slide, I be like, and sing. Okay, so like, see, mine is like a secret ninja star. Like it just be all that stuff, and it just be like, you know, you just be chilling, just like, and I was like, yo, I've been through that. I'd be like Dynamite. I'd be like, haha, I would do that shit before I was in the room. Now you hit. So I was like, but I agree with you. I was like, yo, I be letting y'all out here slide.
I do. I be letting y'all live. Stop trying me. Listen. And the problem is this: I let people live and let them live and let them live, and then they catch me on that one day, and I listen. Their whole head slide off, and they be like, "Yo, you ain't had to do me like that."
Right.
I go, and you earned it.
The best of thing is you be laughing the whole time, and they be like, she takes it like, ooh, 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 ooh. And you just be laughing because you be like, ta-da, ta-da.
You earned it. You earned it.
You earned
it. Do.
I was like, yo, you know how many times like it slipped out the holster, and I was like, I put it back. You know? It's like, yo, I think it's lied so many times. I'm like, nah, not this time though. Yeah, yelling in the background. You about to get it too. I didn't call you. Nothing. I didn't call you. It's okay. You can go back to Nana. I didn't call you. Thanks. I was talking about your sister. Okay, go back. Beat it. Close my door too, please. Go come get it then.
Hurry it, mama.
Don't laugh. You encourage them. Get your excavator. Get your excavator and go downstairs. One Nana. 3. Close my door. 2. No, I'm not asking. I don't want it.
Mama life. Oh, this is why I don't got no kids. I call this birth control. Birth control. Okay. No, Ever is stinking cute.
Reminded me to be like, nah.
No, Ever is cute. He is cute. He not one of them kids that make you think I need birth control. No, he not one of them. Okay, I got 2 more in this, and then we could be done. Okay. So this says, as you make a habit of not taking anything personally, you won't need to place your trust in what others do or say. You will only need to trust yourself to make responsible choices. You are never responsible for the actions of others. You are only responsible for you. When you truly understand this, and refuse to take things personally, you can hardly be hurt by the careless comments and actions of others. So this is where I am in my life. I know that people can only hurt me if I allow them to hurt me. But again, it's more so of like what we was just talking about, that I be sitting here thinking like, I'm going to make the responsible choice not to give you what you gave me. I'm going to make the responsible choice to, you not knock your head off. As my cousin used to say, not knock your blicker blacker off, okay? Because just because you're being irresponsible don't mean that I'm allow you to lead me into irresponsibility. I'm gonna be responsible. It's because I'm not going to take it personally, and I'm not going to even care about your careless comments or actions, because I'm a ninja and I know I could chop your head off. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's not about the other person. Is again kind of like living the way of the martial artist, which they trust themselves. They know like, you doing all of that, but I could take you down, so I'm gonna let you live. You know what I'm saying? Like I trust myself to know if I needed to take you down, I can do it. I'm gonna let you live in the meantime, because I trust in myself, and I can give two fucks about what you saying right now, what you doing right now. It actually don't even impact my life unless I allow it to do so. And so I really like that idea.
To me, I also feel like though, like I agree with that. And but also I feel like maybe I'm still like working on learning that because it's like I won't take it personally, but sometimes it's just about the principalities of it. I'm like, yo, I'm like, what you said, you know, I didn't even take it personally. But I'm like, that's like the fourth time you said something. So you know what? I'm gonna say this one thing. And and then I'm a dip. I said, you not like me. You gonna take it personally. So,
Right. That
like
part.
you like, and also like I also feel like this is a digression, but I also feel like that was also like the issue we had a lot, like probably when we were younger, like a teenage in our 20s. Because maybe also too being from like the city we're in too, so people like roast you and stuff too. So then moving to another city where people like don't have that type of culture. It's like when we went places, especially we were together, and people be like, it would be like, okay. So then you like they try to say something, we're like, okay. And then we would say something back, and you're like laughing. It's like, dude. People be so mad. I'm like, we just be like, we just, you started it. It's a little playful banter. And they're like, no, it's not playful. It's not playful anymore. Like, you're like, what do you mean? You said something a little, a little cute, a little shady to me. And I was like, oh, cool.
That's what
okay,
we doing?
Yeah, that's what we doing. I got one for you too. Watch this.
Yeah.
And then now, like, oh, all of a sudden it's mad. I'm like, oh, my bad. I'm like, that's a different culture here. Because where we from, it can go back and forth for a few minutes. Somebody else walk up, all of a sudden you catching strays. You like, yo, I just got here. And they're like, too late. It was already happening. My rules, everybody can get it. So you like,
that's my rules. Anybody can get it. Anybody can get it. I don't discriminate.
Like I said, I'm about to start roasting my 8-year-old. I feel like she didn't reach the level now. That she old enough to start getting these verbal hands.
That's funny.
I let you slide long enough. I was just talking about it last night. I ain't gonna say on video what I said.
You're gonna learn today, huh?
I didn't say on video what I said because I don't need, she was like, it's on video for the world. But I was just like, she want to say something about me. But ma'am. Let's get it together. I'm like, the only thing you gonna be able to say about me is what I'm fat, because other than that, I'm cute. And I was like, oh, I ain't gonna say too much. I said, I'm fat, but I got fat in the right places. So ain't nobody really complaining. So,
you should have grossed her out. Your daddy ain't complaining.
I know. Like, yeah. Now when we kiss, Everett's only 2, but he be like, y'all kissing? I be like, sir, how do you think you got here? Like, chill. He'd be like, we don't do that. It's weird.
Okay, this is the last one.
Okay.
Excuse me. I can't believe I have wintertime allergies. This old age is just, I ain't know. Okay. It's page 61 in the second agreement. It talks about like once you become more of yourself, you can say what you're feeling, say what you're thinking, and you don't do it in response to other people. So regardless of what people are going to say about you, about this particular thing, you don't care. So if you say, I love you, you're not saying that to get something back. And if the person don't say it back, you don't feel rejected because you didn't do it for them. Okay. So it says, you can ask for what you need. You can say yes or you can say no, whatever you choose, without guilt or self-judgment. You could choose to follow your heart always. Then you can be in the middle of hell and still experience inner peace and happiness. You can stay in your state of bliss and hell will not affect you at all. Now,
I feel like hell is just
a mindset. Hell is a mindset.
Just living.
Yeah. Yeah, which again, I believe living is happening in the mind.
Oh, we'll talk about that another time. Yeah.
Yeah. So we could talk about it. It's really quick right now.
Okay.
When they say Everything happens because the insistence of the mind. So we know that to be true because, or life is happening in the mind because how else can we prove that life is happening?
Yeah. Because you would say
So,
like, oh, like I see it and I feel it, but I'm like, oh, that's in your head.
and if you kill every human being on this planet, how can we be sure that life is really happening? Nobody will be here to perceive it. Perception is a mental thing. So far as we know it, all of this is just happening in our mind. We don't know, right? There's no way to really prove it. That will include every human being leaving the planet, and who will be there to verify. So it is happening in our mind based on that, like,
Mm.
right? So
Okay.
when it's saying like the heaven or hell experience, again, the book is talking about that both are happening in your mind, because living in this is happening in your mind. So either you can make this experience an experience of heaven, or you can make it an experience of hell. And that most people are living in hell, you right, because it's a mindset. It's about how you are approaching life, and that you can find heaven, on earth. And I know this to be true because, I grew up a certain way, and I had a lot of like anxiety and depression going when I went to college, and I had to go to like, therapy and all of these types of things to help myself heal. And I just remember from the moment I woke up in the morning, I had mental chatter, and it would start already at a bad level, but by the time the end of the day, like I was just in the depths of hell. Like my thoughts, it's just one negative thoughts after another, and each thought had to up the last one. So by the time the end of the day came, my thoughts were already in hell. I woke up one step from hell, but I was in the pits of hell by the time the end of the night came. And I realized like it's a matter of what we was talking about in the last video, is being impeccable with your mind, which are your thoughts, which transform what type of experience you're having while here, right? So if you're constantly thinking negative things, if you're constantly having a whole bunch of mental chatter that's not helping you towards your goal, then you are creating anxiety, stress, basically all the things that will be hell on earth. But once figure out, you know, who you are, and like be impeccable with your words and not take this experience personally, then you can create heaven within your world. And I know that to be true because of how my mind was compared to how it is now. Like I don't have constant chatter, I don't have a lot of negative thoughts. I could literally just sit in silence for 5 minutes. And by silence, I just mean my brain is not thinking about yesterday or tomorrow or the future or past. It's literally just in the present moment, experiencing, engaged in the present moment. And I could not have that before. Before I didn't have that. It would be like, I'm doing something and my brain is still thinking about the negative things. Like I'm at work or I'm doing this and I'm still thinking about all the negative things. And now it's like I have mastered my brain, where even when a negative thought come, I hear it soon as it come. I don't catch it on thought 1,000. Soon as it come, I can go, whoa, where did that come from? What am I feeling? Is it my thought? Did it come from the environment? What can I do to kind of like change that thought? How can I reframe it? How can I think something different? How can I unpack it? How can I feel what I need to feel in order to get through this thought? Or if it's not mine, do I want to not pay it no attention? Because we're in a energy field, so it's energy always coming in and out. Your brain is not necessarily yours, but it can come in your brain and you can hold on to it. So for instance, you could be walking down the street and then get the sign that you should kill yourself, like, oh, you should kill yourself. And again, you can hold on to that, like, where did that come from? Am I depressed? Do I think I want to kill myself? Oh my God. And you start ruminating on it, and the next thing you know, it like we just said, inception, and now it's a thought where you could be walking down the street, you hear it, and you go, nah, that was energy from somewhere else. That didn't even follow my train of thoughts. I was thinking about oranges. Where did suicide come from? That's not mine. Let me push it out my brain.
Yeah, the intrusive thought jumps in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I think there's a lot of like anxiety and stuff here. And also like, who knows what we're talking about, like a type of magic. Who knows what kind of magic was whispered onto you subconsciously, that you heard in a song or TV or someone said, because you pick up on all of that. And again, it's like being mindful of that, and then not, again, it's like being impeccable in how you speak to yourself, and just kind of like building, not taking it personally. And the truth of too, what you're saying is like when you're being impeccable about your words, especially even how you speak to yourself, you're doing a lot of healing, and you're doing a lot of self-reflection, and you're doing a lot of growing. And so once you've done that, and you've also decided to do the healing internally, but you're also putting yourself out in the world as with your healing and as yourself, and being mindful of also like in your healing how you show up wherever and not taking it personally. So you're like, hey, I'm doing the healing. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to talk to myself kindly. And I'm going to make sure that I also talk to people in the same manner, because I know the effects and the power that words have and the spells that it casts. And so now that I know that, I'm going to also be mindful of what spells people try to cast on me too. Mm-hmm. And so, and whatever I said or agreed to, the thing about that too is what you're saying is like how that pops up too, is because sometimes you're not mindful of like what you've ingested as well. So maybe that movie or that song you had or something, you may not realize like the type of words or like the feelings that come into it, that could encourage you in the same way too. And the truth of the matter is you may have chosen that movie. You may have chosen to listen to that song. So now whatever like rhythm, whatever, like emotion, whatever, like fun thing, whatever, you bought into that agreement. And so if it's a song you just like, but it tends to be like really harsh, very rough, or very sad, you may not realize that you kind of like taking on that energy. And now when you're trying to, like you're saying, you're in a space of like, you're just trying to like go to your day and it's like, boom, and you're like, what is that? Like, where did that come from? Like, where did that intrusive thought come from? It doesn't necessarily mean it's not from your own, it's only from outside influences, but also you have to be mindful, like if you're doing the work, this is just like a thing to also be mindful of what you allow in other medias to also like, penetrate like your being in yourself. Because if you think of like, oh, like I'm only going to do that and not take things personally with other people, it's not just people. It's not just people. It's social media, it's movies, it's music, it's books, it's all of that. Mm-hmm. You have to be mindful of not taking things personally. If you're looking at a magazine and there's only these beautiful, slim waist, fat butt women, and that's not you, and you're taking that personally because that's what, this being presented as what's beautiful, what to learn, whatever, and that's not you, you may be taking it not personally and maybe taking on that, I don't look like that. And so maybe I'm not desirable. Maybe people don't want me or whatever. This not, I don't fit the beauty standard. And now you've gone again to not be impeccable in your word to yourself. And you've allowed that to penetrate your person. And now you're taking something like just this little magazine or whatever personally. So it's more than just how you interact. And it's about that, again, it's living on hell on earth. It's not just the people, it's the whole thing. You have to be mindful of the whole thing. And I think about, I don't have one, but this is in Christianity, there's a story of like a man, he was like, he was possessed by a demon. So they had him and they drove the demon out. He had an exorcism. So everything was cool, but when the demon came back, they realized that the man was like so free and empty that not only could he possess him again, but a whole lot more can. They cleared up all that space. And essentially they're saying it's like, when you freed yourself of the bad one, you have to then fill yourself up with things that are good, because you don't even know that if you haven't filled yourself up with things that's good, you're allowed access to not only that bad thing again, but even more things. Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing, in whatever. It's like when you're doing the work and you're doing the healing, make sure you're also filling yourself up with the good things. Mm-hmm. And that's what he's also trying to do in this book of telling you with not taking things personally and learning to be authentic, learning to Um, in it, you learn to love yourself, and you learn to let go of people who do not love and respect you. And you learn to say, I love you, no, yes. And you're not afraid of rejection. You're not afraid of people's reaction to it. And you're fine in standing up for yourself, saying, yes, I do want that. There's things in the world that I want, and I'm not afraid to say that I want it. And also say, no, I do not want that. And I'm not afraid of how you're going to react with me saying no. Because just an example, my kids be like, Mom, do you want to do this? I'm like, they're like, hey, Mom, do you want to, like, play this game? I'm like, no. And they're like, why? I'm like, I don't want to. Like, it's not my type of fun thing. And I, you didn't ask, like, I just finished washing dishes and cooking dinner stuff, you didn't want to do that, and I don't want to do this. Like, and I don't feel bad, but my kids are to the point now that they understand that if I say no, I don't want to, it's fine. So also if I say to them, like, hey, do you want to go for this walk with me, like outside or something? They're like, no. I'm like, okay. I'm not going to take it yeah, I'm not going to take it personally that it doesn't mean that they don't want to spend time with me. And the same thing to them. They understand that it's not that I don't want to spend time with them. I've told them that that's not an activity that I find fun. You find that fun. And on another time, I may be willing to put myself out to do that. But at this point in time, I don't want to do that. And even with my own children, I'm not going to feel a kind of guilt or shame, even then, for telling you no, which, especially as a mom, you can especially feel that because you may not interact with your children as much as you want to because you have a whole life that you have to do. And then when they say, hey, do you want to come and play with me? And you say no, it's like something, it's this guilt that comes up. But not only that, maybe your child will feel some kind of way too. But I've also explained to them, like, children are way smarter than you think. And I've also explained to them that, like, hey, I'm allowed to express myself and saying no to you, that that's not something I want to do. And them to understand that. And in that, they find the comfortability to also express themselves that way. So because I don't show up like, disgruntled or something of like, okay, let's play. What are we playing? How do I do it? Something. When I want to play with you, I want to come near myself and enjoy myself. But I also have the ability to say, no, that's not something I enjoy. And a lot of people have to grow into that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to learn that. You have to do that. And it's like it's saying, if you can do that work, even something as simple as that just gives you so much freedom.
Yes.
In your life.
Yes.
Just to be like, I have so much freedom to move in the ways that I do and do not want to.
Yes, because everything comes at an opportunity cost. You do something at the expense of not doing something else. So yeah, it's not just a matter of what we do, it's also a matter of what we don't do. So it's like when you do something, you miss an opportunity to do something else. And sometimes no is the better response than the consequences that are come from if you miss this particular thing or don't do it or exchange it for something else. And so that's why we have to, again, back to plating your food. The best thing you could do, and back to the very first topic we talked to you about, domestication. The very best thing you can do is, as a kid, when you don't like something on your plate, is to say no and stick firmly to it and never break, right? Even though we know the domestication comes and children in general get praised for being obedient, the best thing you can do for yourself is to be true to yourself from a young age all the way throughout your life, regardless of, what adults are telling you or what the people around you deem right or wrong. I don't know what it was about me that made me stubborn in that way of like, this is what I like, this is who I am, and this is what I'm loyal to. I can't tell you what it is about my personality or my character that made me that way from such a young age, but I feel like even though the world may frown upon that because that's what the world deemed me difficult and a troublemaker, to me, I feel like it's one of my biggest strengths because in staying true to myself means that, you know, I can like and love and have integrity within myself, even if that means that you all don't like me. Because what I discovered is a lot of times I would change myself for people to like me, and they never really like me anyway. And it don't really have nothing to do with them. It's because they don't like themselves. And if you like yourself, you will attract people who like yourself and will never need you to change, right? Y'all could just vibe together, kind of like what you were saying earlier. But you changing yourself means that you're around a person who don't like themselves, and you should recognize immediately when you feel the need to change yourself when you're around somebody. That should be an indication, a sign that this person does not accept themselves, and it's things within themselves that they're not accepting and they're projecting it onto you. And so that's what I realize now. It's like if I start to get insecure or some things that go, it's like that's not me. That has nothing to do with me. Like you're asking me to change me to make you feel better, which means that you think it's okay to change you to make other people feel better. You see what I'm saying? It's people pleasing. And so in being around you, it means you don't accept you. And this is why you're trying to force me to change. And you're just not my person. Let me get around people who are okay with themselves, which gives me permission to stay aligned with my integrity. You see what I'm saying?
Because I was, when you were saying that at first, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I completely agree with that or something. And then I thought about a situation recently, and I was like, that was the first time I've probably felt insecure in who knows how long. Because and I mean, like, I come to you, like, I know you guys are saying like, oh man, like these people never, it's not that like, oh, like everything's rainbows or whatever. Like, just to put this out there, like me and Ebony are both Black women, if you can't tell, and we're dark skinned Black women. And I grew up in an area where there were very few dark skinned Black people in general. So I was especially like, had it, you already get like a lot of, you know, negative energy, like just period, from one being a woman and then being a Black woman and then being a dark-skinned Black woman. There's a whole plethora of ways people immediately approach you, how they interact with you and whatever. And then if you put that, for Ebony, you're tall, for me, that I'm short and that my voice is softer, you're tall and your voice is more aggressive. You okay? Wow. Tell God I'm gonna punch him right in his throat.
Wow. We recording. You scared me. You home early.
He was scared me too, because you know what happened yesterday to me. And then you doing that, and I'm like, Ebony, yo, we may need to.
Okay, let's wrap this up really quick.
We gonna wrap this up.
I'm sorry.
We sorry, y'all. We don't have to finish this discussion. Things got weird. This may be in the video. This may not, because we don't edit nothing. We don't care. So it is what it is. Maybe later when things get bigger, maybe we'll pay somebody, but maybe we won't. We'll keep our money. But anyway.
This is a real discussion. You're going to take all these bloopers and you're going to love them.
Oh yeah, I have my old kid come in.
Yeah,
now
you gonna love them. We giving you a piece of our life. You gonna love
them. Right now, your husband's playing practical joke. Yo, guard, that was a bad joke though. Yo, it wasn't the right time. Too many strange things happened lately. You like hello, and I'm thinking about what happened yesterday, and I'm like, Ebony, I think we in trouble. Something's coming for us, Ebony. I'm scared.
Okay, we have less than 1 minute. Let's ramp it down real quick.
So, thank you. All right, so this was a podcast with no name. I'm Paris.
I'm Ebony.
And this was us discussing the 4 agreements, and we're doing the second agreement. To not take anything personally. I hope you followed along with us. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I hope you enjoyed the madness. And I hope that you guys will join us on the next video where we can discuss more, we delve more, and we love, if you can, if you watch it, leave some comments. Tell me if you read it. Tell us what you think. Is there anything you agree with? What you don't agree with? Because we're not going to take it personally. You can say your piece. And it's just been good to share ourselves with you guys. So until next time,
See
peace.
ya. Peace.